sexual acts. That tells us that there are two realms that should never control sexual activity. In fact, three realms. There are three realms that should never control your sexual desire. You see, let us be very honest and frank. Sexual desire was not created by the devil. It was created by God. How do we know? The Garden of Eden. They were naked and they were not ashamed. Chapter 4, Adam knew his wife and he gave birth to Cain. He knew his wife again, he gave birth to Abel. What's the meaning of that? How did he begin to feel romantically towards his wife? It's because God created it and fixed it in them. That tells us that the devil never created sex, God did. Now, what is the devil doing with sex now? Okay, let me not go there yet. God created sex, not the devil. God created sex and put it where he wanted it to be. Two properly married people, Adam, Eve. How does Adam marry Eve? He slept. God took a rib and formed and brought to her. That means you are not supposed to sleep with somebody that God have not taken from you and form and bring to you as a wife if you're a man. That is it. You are not. There are a lot of details there which I can't say on air. A lot of details in that statement I just made. That is why I have sat down with people who marry wrong people, who marry people that are not their rib prophetically. You see a lot of couples having sexual problems. It's because the woman is not the man's rib. Sexual activity was not created to be practiced between people that are not God's, whose marital life is not God's will for their life. That, you see, if you are not God's will for my life, I'm not God's will for your life. I mean, you're a woman, I'm a man. I am not supposed to marry you. Now, if I'm not supposed to marry, I'm not supposed to sleep with you. Now, if I sleep with you, I am taking sex from where God put it to where God has not put it. And it's going to create a major crack. So if you look at Adam and Eve alone, you can see the storehouse of sexual activities. A man formed by the Lord, that was God's regent on earth, who is in total communication with God. If you want us to be very, very thorough, if you want us to go back to the original and line up with God's original standard, can I tell you something? Is a man that hears from God, a man in communication with God, a man in God's garden that is qualified to have sex. A woman, listen, formed by the Lord, carved out of a man who is his wife or husband, brought to the man in marital relationship, pronounced by the man as a woman, and pronounced by God as husband and wife. Maybe using the preacher for today. But then there was no preacher, God was the preacher. That is a woman that is qualified to have sex. So watch this. If a man is not in communion with the Holy Spirit, if a man is not God's regent on earth, if a man has not found his garden, if a man has not found his assignment, if a man is not in fellowship with God, he is not qualified. This is God's design. This Bible design. He is not qualified to have sexual intercourse. Check the kind of problem we're having on earth. It is men that are not qualified to have sexual intercourse that are generating problems on earth. They will get a woman pregnant and abandon her. Everything or scared, they want to sleep with it. They don't care either they are married or they are single. They don't care whether the woman is their wife or not. They just want to satisfy their sexual desires. Those are men that are not fit to have sexual relationship. From God's definition, we are looking at the storehouse where God puts us, because we cannot heal cracks or breaches created by sexual activities without going back to the original and see the storehouse where God created sex to be. Listen carefully. What is the spiritual identity of a man that God gave the legitimacy to have sexual relationship? The identity is hidden in Adam. Let's run through it one more time. Made in God's image. That is number 1. Made in God's likeness. Number 2. How many men today that are having sexual intercourse that are in God's image and likeness? All of us were in God's image, but majority are not in God's likeness. But Adam was in God's image, he was in God's likeness. So when a man is not in God's image and God's likeness, he should not think about sex, because he's going to take it out of where God put it and put it where God has not put it, and create problems on earth. Children without fathers, women with broken hearts because of men that could not stay. All kinds of nonsense will be happening on earth. So Adam was image of God, likeness of God. What's the meaning of likeness? Functioning as God does. 3. Adam had an assignment, a divine assignment to fulfill. So when a man has not found his assignment, he should never find a woman to sleep with. In God's design, it's a man that has found assignment, a man that is functioning in his image and his likeness. That is a man that God designed to have sexual relations with a helpmeet he is going to bring to the man. So any man outside this description is unfit by God's design to have sexual relationships. I repeat again, go and sit down. We can even start this Bible class at this point and sing till we go, so that you think, if you think about the statement I just made, the depth of it, you will now realize that that is the major problem in the human race. Men that are not qualified by God's definition to have sex are having sex, and they are creating problems on the face of the earth. All the cracks we are going to see, the macroscopic cracks, are created by people who are not qualified to have sex, and they want and they desire to have it, and they choose to have what God did not qualify them to have. When men who are qualified to have sex, when they get involved in that activity, in God's design, it gives birth to a family. Because they will not do it with any woman, because they will understand the rules that govern sexual activities. The rules that govern. What is the rule? We'll go there. Listen carefully. So, number 4, the image of man qualified for sexual activities. We have mentioned 3. The 4th one, we are recapping again. The 4th one, he was in constant touch with his maker. That's communication. Remember, God came in the cool of the day to fellowship with Adam. He was in constant touch. So when a man is not in God's image and likeness, a man is not in God's assignment, a man is not in constant touch with God, he have no business with sexual intercourse. I am telling you God's design. I am showing you where God created sex and kept it. That we have gone to carry it from there. And look at the destruction in our lives. If we allow sex to stay where God keep it, there will be no problem on it. Sexual activity will not be the greatest destruction in the human race. Now, we have seen 4 snapshots of a man who is qualified to engage in sexual activities. Now, number 5, the 5th snapshot of a man who is qualified to engage in sexual activities, he is under restriction of the Almighty. In another word, a man who obeyed divine commandments. Adam was under restriction. What was the restriction? Of every tree in the garden you shall freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of evil, do not eat. For the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. Adam was keeping to that instruction. So you see the 4th snapshot, a man in total submission to the will and the ways of God, a man who is keeping the commandments of God. So let's run through again. Who is a man that's qualified to engage in sexual activities? Number 1, a man who is in God's image. 2, God's likeness. 3, in God's assignment, within God's assignment for his life, he has found his divine assignment. 4, he's in direct communication with the head office, direct communication with God, with Jesus. 5 is what I just mentioned. Listen carefully. He is under divine restriction. Check the men that are going about sleeping with women. They don't match these 5 things I have mentioned. They only match the first one, image. They don't have the likeness of God. They are not in their assignment. They are not in constant touch with God. They are not under restrictions. Common wedding ring cannot even restrict them. Number 6, the man that is qualified to engage in sexual activity, number 6, he must have found his helpmeet, his wife. Properly find her and follow the seven biblical steps into marriage. Find her and properly find her and get her to now become your wife. Do you see the 6th point? Check the men that are going about sleeping around. Did they match these things? It means we have taken sex where God kept it and brought it out. It's now destroying us. It has become a snake consuming people's life. Sex has become a snake now, consuming people's life. It is full of venoms, terrible venom, destroying the life of people. Because we took it from where God kept it. And can I tell you a mystery? Whenever you take something from where God kept it and bring it out, it will become a serpent. Do you know why it's going to become a serpent? Because the old serpent will have access to it and turn it into a viper. Do you know that sex has become a viper? Today, it's a major viper that we now warn people against. But in the beginning, it was not so. Whenever you take something from where God kept it and bring it out, it destroys. It destroys everybody. Because a viper. Now watch this. The 6th hallmark, or the 7th snapshot of a man who is qualified to be engaged in sexual activity. Remember number 6, he has found his wife, so he's now qualified. Number 7, he must be willing to be responsible to the woman. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, you shall be called a woman. Responsibility. He must be responsible. So check the men that are going about sleeping around. Are they responsible? They are not. That's why you see they got this man paying and jump away, go to another one, jump away. You see a man will be married will be married and later looking for another woman outside. They are not responsible. So that tells you that 99% of men that are having sex now are not fit. By God's design, they are not qualified. I know why you're today. Some of you, apostle. That is the Holy Spirit. That's the way He reveals secret. So whenever you see a man on the road, your fellow man, maybe a lady, ladies, listen to me. You say a man is talking to you about sex. Look at him and ask him, "Are you really qualified?" The man will say, "Yes, I'm qualified. Look at me, I'm qualified." Tell him, "Sit down. Sit down. Let's talk." Stupid. Sit down. And show him this 7th snapshot and ask him again, "Are you qualified?" He's going to leave you alone. Tell the man, "You are not qualified to sleep with me until you are qualified. You are not qualified to take me to bed until you are qualified." What's the qualification? These 7 things I've mentioned. Image of God, likeness of God, fine in his assignment, perfect communion with God, obeying the restrictions of the Almighty, find his wife, and you, the woman, must be his wife. And 7, committed to you, responsible to you. And you must be his wife, not because he mentioned it, but because you follow the 7 steps into marriage, and the man of God pronounced two of you husband and wife. So all you ladies, listen to me. All the men you have allowed to sleep with too, were they qualified? They were not. That's why they left you in pain. When a woman sleeps with a man that's not qualified to have sex, he will leave her in pain and sorrow. He could even be married to her. But the man is not qualified if she herself is not his wife by God's design. And if they did not step into it, following the pathways of God. You see, let's now turn it the other way around. Which woman is qualified to have sex? Number 1, a woman that is the bone of a man she wants to sleep with. Eve was born of Adam, not a bone of a chimpanzee in the garden. That's why she never went to have sex with animals. The way people are having sex with animals today, she never went to have sex with animals because she was not the bone of a chimpanzee. She was not the bone of a lion or a dog in the garden. She was the bone of Adam. Bone of his bone. So you are not permitted to sleep with someone that you are not his bone. Ladies, listen to me. You are not. Check all your problems on earth. It's because you slept with someone that you are not his bone. Now you're a single mother. Or you're a woman with children and a man. And the man says your husband. You are calling him husband. And your life is full of pain and reproach. You are not his bone. No man oppresses his bone. No man. No man oppresses his bone. Because his bone is him. So, if you are not the man's bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh, you should not sleep with the man. 2, which lady is qualified to sleep with a man? Is a lady that God has revealed to her, that the egg she carries were created for the seed the man carries. Do you hear what I just said? That the egg she carries were created for the seed that the other man carries. So until that is revealed, you shouldn't open your legs. Number 1, until you are bone of his bone. 2, until God has revealed to you that that man is carrying the seed for your egg. You know why that needs to happen? Because every egg is supposed to be a completion of a seed. The seed of a man. Before a child will be born and become a child of exploit, the egg from the woman and the seed from the man must complement. God must design the two to be fertilized. There's so much about that which I don't want to go into. Like I said, I'm not saying there are a lot of things I'm not saying. I'm just cutting them off because let's say I was in a closed session with few people, I will tell you a lot of mysteries. But this one we are on air. Now listen carefully. Listen carefully. The woman that tells me if God, that tells me a woman should not sleep with a man that have already been married. Because his egg, his seed have been given to another egg. 2, a woman should never sleep with a man that God has not revealed to her that he is her bone. 3, which woman is qualified for sex? The woman must be taken to the man by God. Because Eve was taken to Adam by God. So the woman must be taken to the man. I am telling you things that must be in place. The snapshot. She must be taken to the man by God. Not that her breasts will pull her to the man. Her hips should not pull her to the man. Her beauty bones should not pull her to the man. Her sexuality should not pull her to the man. It is the presence of God hidden in her destiny that should pull her. The presence of God. It was the presence of God that took Eve to Adam. But do you know what is taking women to men today? Their breasts, their nudity, their skimpy dresses, their seductive looks, their seductive activities. They use that to take themselves to men. You see it on Facebook, you see it on physical. They do everything to trap men. So you now use your sexuality to take yourself to a man. Why? It is the presence of God that should take you to a man. So you use your sexuality. So women even use their manipulation, saying, God said you are my husband. You see, thank God I'm married. If I am single, and the woman come to me and say, God say I'm her husband. If I'm in a good mood, I'll just say, please, can you leave this place? If I'm not in a good mood, let me not say what I will do. I will be the last man on earth that she will ever approach for marriage. But I'm through with her. I've told you before, it wasn't on this platform. When a woman gives her sexuality to you freely, it's a slaughterhouse. She wants to dead. You may not die physically, but something about you will die. Now, watch this. Look at ladies today. Why are they in problems? instead of the presence of God taking them to their man, their sexuality and carnal desires is what pulls them to the man. The desire to sleep with the man is what pulls them to the man, instead of the presence of God. And can I tell you something? If the presence of God take you, lady, to a man, it will always take you to your husband, your bone, your flesh, the bone of your bone and the flesh of your flesh. It will not take you to another woman's husband. No. It will take you to your own. But if your sexuality takes you to a man, whoever you married is not your bone, it's not your flesh. And time will reveal it. Time will reveal it. You see some people groaning in marriages because the presence of God never took them to the men. So they are not fit to have sex. That tells us any man that God's presence have not taken you to, don't sleep with the man. Anyone that your sexuality took you to, don't sleep with the man. So God's presence must take you there, because God's presence took Eve to Adam. Do you know that Rebecca, it was God that brought Rebecca to Isaac? Do you know what I'm saying? Check some guys in the Bible and see. Not people like David that were picking women like the way you pick a chewing gum on the street and he end up with 8 at 30. That's not what I'm talking about. Let me go further. The next snapshot of a woman that should have sex is a woman that God has finally joined to her bone. And she knows the assignment God took her to fulfill in the life of her bone, in the life of the bone of her bone and flesh of her flesh. That is a woman that is qualified to sleep with her man. Are you understanding me? So that tells you, you will sleeping around with men. What are you fulfilling? Do you know that even the sexual activities that the woman is having with the bone of her bone and the flesh of her flesh is part of an assignment being fulfilled? Go and read Ecclesiastes, you will see it there, my friend. I don't want to go there because of time. Listen carefully. The next snapshot of a woman that is qualified by God's design. If you look at this snapshot, now she's now in the home. She's not a wayward woman walking on the street. She's not one single lady out there walking on the street looking for who will sleep with her. She's now in her home. The next thing is character now comes in. Submission comes in. Are you understanding me? Then intimacy with the Father. So put these things side by side. I pray that the Holy Ghost could show you more. But God never created sex to be where we have put it today. He never. Neither did He create sex to be an activity that every human being must be involved in. No! He never did that. Remember, before the fall, the purpose of sexual activities was primarily for procreation, childbearing. That is why God will not partner an egg with a seed that He has not pre-planned their existence, that He has not designed in His will that they be together. So that when the seed comes forth, it will actually be a seed that will bruise the head of the serpent. Are you understanding me? So, these macroscopic cracks we are going to see were created because mankind took sexual activities from where God kept it to where God never intended it to be. These cracks, as we are going to see them, they are also created because men that are not fit by God's design to be engaged in sexual activities, God themselves engaged in sexual activities. So they generated these cracks. Women who by God's design were not created to be engaged, women who were not designed by God, by design, they didn't fit the description or the qualification of a woman that should be involved in sexual activities. They got themselves involved in it and they created these cracks. So in another word, we can say today we allow our sexuality to be controlled by the Egyptians, the Canaanites, and the third realm I will mention shortly. Listen, who are the Egyptians? The system, the evil and corrupt system of this world. Do you know that it is the system that have defined sex to us? Something that never created sex is now telling us how to do it. It's not teaching us about sex. Do you know who should teach you about sex? God who created it. And if God wants to teach you, He will teach you only one lesson. Put sex where I kept it. Do not pull it out of where I kept it. If you bring it out of where I kept it, you destroy yourself. It becomes a snake. It becomes a viper. And listen, so many of you that are dreaming, seeing snakes in the dream. So, snakes represent curses. Sometimes they represent demons, but they also represent sexual activities powered by the demonic that has ruined your life. Because whenever you take sex from where God kept it and bring it out, it becomes a viper. It begins to destroy. Look at how it has become a big viper, destroying youth. Destroying so many youths are destroyed. Look at how so many marriages are destroyed by this viper called sex. It has destroyed marriages. It has shut down destinies. It has promoted teenage pregnancies, and a lot of teenagers are off the track that God set for their lives. It has defied the mantles of divine callings. It has polluted churches. It has polluted anointings. It has destroyed the plan and program of God for church members and their pastors, because as soon as a pastor sleeps with a church member, he has destroyed a plan and a program. So this viper has done a lot of damage in the human race because we took sex from where God kept it, and we bring it out, and it became a snake.